situation is that my wife says she needs space. So the bottom, the jump to the chase is that I'm kicked out of the house again. This is second time this year, fourth time total. So I'm back in my car, and the I'm not sure what the statement that I want to work on is. I've come up with a few. The should I go over what I've come up with?
Yeah, come up. Just share what you've come up with so far.
Um, she should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out, um, instead of just giving up.
Mm-hmm.
So she should. She's abandoning me yet again, and I've had enough. And I'm gonna. Um, she wants time off. Well, I may want time off, like maybe for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
which kind of feels like a "f you, well, I'll show you" kind of thing. Um, she always gets her way, because in I was like, well, I'll support you, whatever you want to do. Trying to be the way that I want to be. And if that means that
Mm-hmm.
you don't want me around, then I'll support you in that too. Um, but the 5-year-old part of me just wants to stick it to her. Doesn't really want to support her
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that.
for sure.
The
Okay, well, these are some. Is there more?
oh,
These
just
are
a
some good
few.
thoughts here.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
she's been very depressed for a long time, and she made some comment. Each time kill another little part of me, so just always blaming instead of taking responsibility, and that she only thinks about the consequences of her actions, um, to the consequences for herself. She doesn't think what the consequences is for other people.
okay, yeah. All right, so it's a good list. This is the way I like to do it. The stressful situation presents itself, and then I just go to a piece of paper and start putting out whatever thought stream of consciousness is coming out of my head, and I trust it. I totally trust it. That stress will direct me what to write, and you've done that beautifully here. So let's just start at the top of your list. She should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out instead of giving up. Is that true?
Yes, that's totally true. She's been working really
Okay.
hard on herself for 2, 3 years now, and we know what the patterns are, and we both.
So just keep it as a simple yes, yes,
Yes,
or
yes.
no, right? Then it keeps it really simple. Okay. And the reason for that is that this is an experiential process, and so even though you see the reasons there, there's something about just saying yes, or saying no, and then holding it, owning it, that it somehow touches on the experiential level. That's the only purpose. So, can you absolutely know it's true? She should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out instead of giving up. Okay. So, how do you react? What happens when you believe this thought that she should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out instead of giving up? And she's kicking you out of the house for the fourth time.
Um, I'm angry. I'm depressed. So much work's gone into working on this. And I think the strongest part is that I'm just really disappointed. There's something about me or my background that just doesn't have any respect for somebody that takes the easy way out. And it's pretty easy when there's a struggle to just split or have ask the other person split or whatever. So
Oh,
I just feel really disappointed.
okay. Do you
And
see
I guess part of
any?
me is
Yeah.
also feels I mean, I'm disappointed in her. So I guess that would be um I'll just leave it as I'm disappointed in her. That's all. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, what are the images from the past that you see when you think that she should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out, and then she's not? Oh, it looks like you got frozen. Okay, see if you come back. Okay, so I don't know if he will be back or not, but uh, Sydney, yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay. While we're waiting for him, in case he can rejoin,
Yeah,
would you like to perhaps comment or explain or reflect a little bit about what just happened
yeah,
with
yeah.
with Mike? That might
That's a
be,
good
and then
opportunity.
maybe he'll rejoin.
Able to rejoin. Yeah, exactly. So, as I mentioned with his number one, when I said this is an experiential thing, and just that one word answer was touching in on that, this whole process of doing the work is experiential. So I call it, that's why we call it meditation. Um, so, what he's doing here, having identified the stressful thought to question, he's starting to notice what the reactions are inside of him and in terms of how he's how he's seeing his wife, his disappointment. All of these reactions come out as a result of believing that thought in that moment. She should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out. So we're just we're letting Mike give his, here he is again, give his experience, um, and just let it be seen and experienced. And then that gives the experience as you're doing this, and anyone will have the same experience, that you start to get it. Like the part that's stuck is the one that's seeing and experiencing this. So it starts to see how stressful it is to believe this thought. So that's where we're at right now.
And before Mike, before you start speaking again, we were kind of filling for you while we were waiting for you. Um, like someone like me who doesn't do the work a lot, and I actually do know what you're talking about, but if I didn't, I would think, yeah, but look what his wife did. This is terrible. It's awful. So can you say a little bit about how that is or isn't important, or why we aren't questioning her behavior?
Right, right. So, you know, um, sometimes we can't change the situation, but with this kind of inquiry, we can often change our experience of the same situation. So it's one thing, if I can change a situation, I'll do that. But if I can't, or even if I can, I may question my thinking and change my experience of it so that it's less stressful for me one way or the other. Either way it happens to go. So that's what this work is about. It's like coming back in to our inner experience and seeing if there's another way of viewing it. Okay, but we haven't got to that part yet. We're right now looking at how you react, and I think you've already answered quite a lot. But right when we got cut off, you were saying, or I was asking, are there any images you see from the past when you think that she should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out?
Yeah, I'd say the last few months I see a lot of images when there was conflict, and we took a few minutes out and then reconnected and worked it out.
Yeah.
And the fact that she doesn't want to do that, I'm just very disappointed. And disappointed, resentful, and angry and hurt.
Okay. So, who would you be without the thought she should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out instead of giving up? When she kicks you out, who would you be without this thought that she should be emotionally educated?
Oh, I'd be yeah, I'd be happy. I'd go out on a nice afternoon run. I'd be focused on my work, and most of all, I'd be compassionate towards her. Without that thought, I would be compassionate towards her that her situation must be have gotten bad enough to where she can't work things out, and tools like blaming and needing space are all that she has. I would be compassionate and feeling bad towards her.
Yeah. So we're seeing here the difference with the thought she should be emotionally educated, that resentment was paramount. And without the thought that she should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out, compassion starts coming in. You start seeing how hard it may be for her, some understanding that it must be hard for her. So, this is the effect of that thought on your experience. She should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out instead of giving up. When that thought's running in some form, even if it's just on a feeling level, it affects the experience so that you experience it as resentment, as instead of understanding. So, having seen the effect of that particular thought in this situation on you, let's experiment with some of the opposites of the thought, which is the turnarounds. So, how could you turn around this thought? Just technically first, and then we'll see if it can make any sense out of it. So, she should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out. What would be a turnaround?
She shouldn't be emotionally educated to be able to work things out.
Okay, so that's the turnaround. Now we have to hold that as our new hypothesis. Is it possible that that could be true in some way? It's just the opposite of what we were just, what you were just thinking and believing. But play with it. Is there any, can you find anything that makes sense to you that she shouldn't be emotionally educated to be able to work things out?
I'd say she's only been doing this kind of work for less than 2 years, not not decades like me. So she shouldn't. I've seen
Yeah.
her just lay in bed for long periods, look pretty depressed for many, many months. So maybe it's just not possible to
Yeah.
to work things for her
Yeah.
mind to be rational enough to. Um, so it sure is a lot easier to blame and scream and do all that than. I guess they don't call it the work for nothing.
Yeah, any kind of internal work where you're starting to see your own part in things and take responsibility for everything, your own experience. It's yeah, it is hard work. It takes courage. And and so who knows? It may be she reached a limit. So she shouldn't be emotionally educated to be able to work things out. Any other reasons she why she shouldn't be, or any advantages why she shouldn't be? Like, how's it good for her, or how's it good for you, or any other ways of thinking that she shouldn't be emotionally educated to be able to work things out?
Um, well, she shouldn't. One other reason might be because she isn't.
Yeah, that
So
is,
she shouldn't be if she can't.
yeah, the proof is there, right? She can't. She has kicked you out. So that means that there's no guessing about it. She has reached her limit. Like that was as much as she could do. And then that was what felt like the only option. So how could that be a good thing for you or her or both of you?
Um, yeah, it could be a good thing. If I want to work on my own issues and patterns, then just like if I want to be a better competitive athlete or climber or warrior or anything else, I need somebody I need somebody to spar with. So
Mhm. Yeah.
so
So how do you,
by being challenged to not be resentful, not feel abandoned and be yelled at and be stay in a compassionate mode, then in the end it benefits me
so she's
and
giving
lets
you like
me
the,
work even harder. Gives me
yeah, she's
you know
giving you the
gives me
ultimate
somebody
test,
to
right?
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So she should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out from that point of view. Yeah, her giving up is the very thing that can trigger you. So that's the acid test.
Yeah,
Can I come back to peace even when that happens? Let me see. Right.
yeah.
And um, yeah, any other specific things that come to mind of how her not being able to work things out, not, her giving up is a good thing, would be a good thing.
Oh, maybe she's right. Maybe she doesn't call it she doesn't call it kicking me out. Her term for it is she needs space. A week, a month, she doesn't know. So maybe could be a good thing in that maybe she can't process.
Mm,
Maybe she needs a month to process.
yeah, it's a very valid point. Like when you're in the fire and you can only, even though it's, the challenge that you need, there can be a point where it's just too much. I just have to step out of the fire for a while and find some balance again just by not being challenged to the nth degree. And then with that, some rationality comes back or some calmness comes back, and it may be supportive for whatever further discussions you have together. Like trying, like when a kid just gets totally breaks down and like they're completely having a tantrum, you just can't talk with them then. Like it's better just to have it be over with for now, and then we'll see later what happens. Yeah, so I love that example. She shouldn't be emotionally educated to be able to work things out. She can't. She may be flooded, and it's a good time to give up and get a little bit unflooded before continuing.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there another turnaround? She should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out instead of giving up.
Yeah, I should be emotionally educated enough to work it out in my own head.
Okay, so give me some examples of how that could be as true, or maybe even truer.
Oh, well, I've been working for whatever 15, 20 years towards um, accepting equanimity and not being non-reactive and accepting people as they are, being compassionate. So um, here's a situation where another nice test, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the? I
Well, I think
forgot
you're
my.
answering it. The question was, why could it be, how could it be as true that you should be emotionally educated enough to be able to work things out versus her being emotionally educated and
Uh,
to work things out?
yeah, I, that's my goal. That's what I work very hard towards, and I've worked really hard on it, so I should be.
Yeah.
I
So
should be able
looking
to
at
work
just
this
the
out.
level of experience, you've been working for many years, she's been working for 2. Like, it makes more sense that you would be capable of being able to work things out, being emotionally educated enough to do that, um, instead of giving up, than she would. Yeah.
Yeah,
The cool thing is you rest on your own experience there. It's not dependent on her somehow magically becoming emotionally educated enough to be able to work things out. Like it brings it back home to, oh right, I have a lot of tools. Oh yeah, I have a lot of experience. Oh yeah, I am kind of working on seeing equanimity and being, yeah, more even in how I see situations. So that's like, it's like this turnaround, just like a reminder of the strength and experience that you bring to the situation,
yeah,
as opposed to waiting on her to somehow catch up or exceed that. And I love that feeling. That's what the work often does for me, is it brings me back to this feeling like, oh right, I'm not a victim here. Like I have some resources. I have a lot of resources actually within myself, a lot of experience to support me, and and it reduces the threat of the actual situation, the feeling of threat. So I should be emotionally educated to be able to work things out instead of giving up. Yeah. And you can also turn it around to yourself too, instead of giving up on myself. There's a giving up on us and there's a giving up on myself. So,
yeah,
regardless, one is let me not give up on us because it's not necessarily over. Maybe in a month's time, she's ready to talk again, or who knows. But in the meantime, regardless of whether a breakup is permanent or not, let me not give up on myself. Let me be emotionally educated enough to be able to work things out with myself so that I don't give up on myself. And that way, I'm really safe, like 100% safe, regardless of what happens.
yeah, yeah. And if that happened, I would be safe in all kinds of situations and closer to achieving my goal.
Yeah. So in the end, all that's happened is this little challenge, and it's bringing you, in some ways, doing this work shows the options, that it's not the, the feeling is when we get in these situations, it's the end of the road, right? But it's not the end of the road. There's so many options that we've already touched on in just a few minutes. So what I encourage you to do is keep following these stressful thoughts when they come up. They may continue to pop up, different ones. After this one, there'll be another one, and you've already written a few down. And just question a few of them. You don't have to question all, but just if you get stressed, question another one. One a day, that's plenty. And then it just keeps reminding me of what I have. So thank you for your work. Really appreciate it.